Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Check. Hello, hello. All right. Here we go. Good. Moving on to our agenda. First point, call to order. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings, NJSA 10-4-6, adequate notification of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Courier News and posting notice in the Board of Education Administration Building and District Schools and filing notice with the Borough Clerk. I hereby call to order the regular public meeting Tuesday, September 23, 2025 in the Lincoln Middle School Cafetorium, 400 Dunellen Avenue at 7:02 p.m. This meeting is broadcast live. For details, check www.dunellenschools.org. Moving on to item number 2, roll call. Mr. Pepe, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson,
Present.
Mrs. Condit,
Present.
Ms. Ibeck,
Present.
Dr. Gendrano,
Present.
Mrs. Howard,
Present.
Mr. Satanoy,
Present.
Ms. Schimpf is not here, Mrs. Shep is not here, and Mr. Walker.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. Moving on to item number 3, executive session. The Dunellen Board of Education will now adjourn into executive session to discuss items that fall within specific exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act, CNJSA 10-4-12B. The confidential matters discussed by the board during this executive session include items related to individual privacy, collective bargaining agreements, pending or anticipated litigation, as well as personnel. Any discussion that does not need to remain confidential will be made public as soon as it is practical. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. All individuals who may be discussed in executive session have been adequately notified. Action will take place after the conclusion of the executive session. May I have a motion to move into executive session, please?
Move to go to exec.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll be back in about 25 minutes or so, around 7:30. Okay, we are back. So looking for a motion to come back into public.
Move to go to public.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is over there. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you all please remain standing for a moment of reflection and respect for our troops serving throughout the world, our troops who have served, and our troops who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of our United States of America. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 5, approval of minutes. Looking for a motion to approve 5A, which is our minutes from the August 26th meeting.
Approve 5A.
Seconded.
Open for questions or comments? Last call? Okay. Mr. Pepe, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Condit,
Yes.
Ms. Ibach,
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy,
Yes.
Mrs. Shep,
Yes.
and Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Fantastic. Moving on to item number 6 on the agenda, the appointment of student representatives. Should I turn it over to you, Mr. Ross, or Mr.? Okay, so let's go ahead and approve. Looking for a motion to approve 6A. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, move to approve 6A.
Second.
Open for questions, comments?
I just want to welcome Douglas Guardado Cibrian back to the board. He served as the student representative to the board last year. We're very excited to have him back this year.
Hear, hear. Well, wait.
Good vote.
Optimism. Let's go, guys. So, any last questions, comments? Okay. Mr. Pepe, please call the roll.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Condit,
Yes.
Ms. Ibach,
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
sorry, Mr. Satinoy,
Yes.
Mrs. Shep,
Yes.
and Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Congratulations, Douglas.
Ooh, now, congratulations, Douglas. Okay, moving back to the agenda, item number 7, student recognition. And now I'll turn it over to Mr. Ross.
All right, thank you, Dr. Gendrano. So we're very excited today to have our first student recognition of the 2025-26 school year. We're recognizing some really special students who scored perfect scores on their spring testing, or who passed the access testing, which is the assessment for multilingual learners. We're very, very proud of our students who achieved that. And we also have 2 special recognitions that we'll save to the end that I'll let Mr. Lynch speak to as well. But getting things rolling, let's bring up Mr. Tennant from Faber Elementary. We don't have the banners over there, but that's okay. Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Awesome. So can I, first I want to bring up students, and then I'll say a little speech about them. Braden Marcel, where's Braden? Braden here? I don't see him. How about Dylan Pena? Dylan? No Dylan. Okay. Josue Gonzalez. Josue's not. And Christopher Rojas. Come on up, Christopher. Congratulations, Christopher. Awesome job, man. So, Christopher, stay right here. Come on up. This way. Where are you? Dylan? You have a certificate, Braden? Not there? Is that yours? That yours? So, this past summer, I was lucky enough to go to Ireland, and I went with my son, celebrate some of my childhood. But one of the things we did was went to the West Coast, the Aran Islands, and bringing my son on the Aran Islands for the first time, he really experienced what it was like challenging not knowing a language. They speak Gaelic there, Irish, if you want to say, but learning to just do directions, learning to order in a restaurant, learning to walk down the streets was a huge, huge challenge for him and myself, and hearing people talk to us and not understanding a word. Up here we have two gentlemen that came into our schools learning a new language, navigating a new culture, and facing challenges that I went for one day. They did it every single day. They didn't quit. They showed up. They put in the work day in and day out, and now they've met the standard and passed the access test. They're exiting our E&L program because they've proven themselves the readiness to be in the Faber classrooms and put their best foot forward. What comes with this is just promise. They have the skills, determination, and the drive to really, really do something great for our schools. So Faber could not be more proud of them. Please clap it up for our boys. We want to do a picture coming up. Our next certificate is for a student who scored a perfect score on the math and JLSA. The discipline, the focus, what it takes to do that, I have absolutely no idea. I never, experienced anything like this. It's just absolutely amazing to score a perfect score in math. I'm sure I'll be calling him about 15 years now to do my finances. Just absolutely amazing. Paulo Tran, coming up. Pictures, pictures, pictures. Mr. Tobin, come on up. Clap it up for Mr. Tobin, new principal at LMS.
All right, thank you for being here tonight. We have 3 students at Lincoln Middle School who scored high enough on last year's WIDA Access test to be considered proficient in the English language. Our first student is Dylan Trigueros Hernandez. Come on down, Dylan. Our next student is Brian Sick Torres. And the third student is Juan Barbosa Ramirez. All right, our high school principal, Mr. Paul Lynch.
All right, good evening. We have a number of we have a number of students that we want to recognize. As Mr. Tennant did, we have one student who, through the access testing, tested out of our ELL program. She's a fantastic young lady at the high school. She also plays tennis, and she has some of the best hair at the high school. Eliani Gill. Now, we're very proud of these students. We have a number of students who scored a perfect 850 on the ELA portion of NJGPA. NJGPA is the high school graduation requirement in the state of New Jersey, and it's fantastic that the students worked their way through it. They weren't just happy answering the questions, knowing they were going to pass, but they worked all the way through it, doing the essays, doing the questions, and in the end, there were 7 of them with the perfect 850. So we're very happy. So when I call their name, please come on up. Josh Osborne. Congratulations. Isaac Gomez. Hanaya McCleary. Freya Meyer. Not here. Elliot Moore. Megan North. And Brian Fillicrez.
Alas, poor Yorick.
And we have 2 other students to recognize from the National Merit Scholarship Program, which is when students take the PSATs back in October. We get a list of students who score exceptional scores on the PSAT, and we have 2 students this evening recognized as commended students for their scores on the PSATs. They are Jackson Gendrano. And Josh Osborne.
All right, so thank you to the administrators. Thank you. Congratulations, students. We're going to take about a 5 or 8 minute break or so right now. So the step and repeat is here. Parents, we encourage you to take all the pictures that you want. We'll leave it here. It's also two-sided, so there's on the back as well. And then we'll get to the rest of the meeting after that. But congratulations, everyone. Big round of applause for everyone today.
Now we get the junk mail from all the colleges. Exactly. And just like, not all practicing or getting test prep at home, paying for extra things. And so whatever little things like that that the school is doing, I think really make an impact, right? You know? Because my son, he started, he's like, wait, so like, I could get into like these colleges now? Like, he was in like, yes, but you're a freshman. And he's like, yeah, but so by junior year, my SAT should be booked. He's like trying to predict. Wow. But it's like, setting the mark, right? Yeah. Yeah, and like he's taking an AP class as a sophomore. He's taking AP computer science principles. Our school pays for the AP test for the kids. Like, there's a lot of, I feel there's a lot of like nuggets in our district that you can't listen to the 10% of like sludge on Facebook. I don't even.
Yeah, I know. I can't. I've been tapped out.
But like,
The only thing
it's
I go
like
on
Yelp,
for is the
right?
pictures.
People only go on Yelp when the dinner was bad.
Yeah. Oh,
So
of
people
course.
only
Oh, yeah.
when they have stuff to
Also,
complain
like,
about.
just the feedback is like a lot of times that people experience like bouts of depression because like everyone's lives look so much better than mine.
Right.
But it's like no, you
Right.
always show with the positive side.
Yeah.
No, really.
And I don't know, my younger son, he's an 8th grader now, when he went through Faber, and that was like right in the pandemic, he was really struggling with reading, and the school was really good at getting him the interventions he needed during quarantine.
Yep.
And eventually leading to we had an IEP. He declassified at the end of 6th grade, like he didn't need his IEP anymore. But like I feel like everything was done with like diligence, you know?
Yeah.
And like my kid never felt stupid.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even know he had an IEP. Just actually it was like sometime in like 6th grade it came up and he's like, wait, what's that paper I brought home from school? I'm like, oh.
Yeah. We got it.
And I was like, you struggled with reading, and we like talked about the whole thing.
You know, like that really changed a lot of students' lives.
Yeah.
So thankfully that was able to be, would you say like, because I really feel like but I'm just so new and like my eyes are just recently tuned right to our district.
actually, it was funny, like, because all the teachers will have like a list so the kids know what number. So like, okay, math class I'm number 8, so put my thing in number 8. And this year the kids were like, you didn't have the numbers ready. Like they were like ready for the system, and the teachers were like, still. And we instituted lanyards, and the kids like swipe in at the school and swipe, and like seniors when they leave for open campus they swipe out. Yeah, but the cell phone thing, absolutely, they're garbage.
I
Put them
know,
away.
and I just feel like that would, because like when we mentioned about like social media, like I for a bit like was into that, but then I'm like this is just
Toxic.
yeah, and stepping away from it it's a relief.
Last summer I deleted all social media off my phone and I read 9 books.
I don't.
So what was I wasting my time doing?
The only time
Scrolling on TikTok and looking at videos on Instagram.
It's true, but like, and I feel like probably for our children, they don't like they'll feel that catharsis too.
The research is there now. The research tells us what it's doing to your brain, your short-term, your working memory. Having it even near you is already damaging your working memory. Even if it's down, this mere presence of your phone is taking away from your working memory.
My kids make fun of me because all my books are like all zombie books. Like all horror or like apocalypse kind of stuff. They're like, Dad. You tell us to
Something
read,
a little lighter.
keep reading. That's the best.
But it's great. The kids, like, when you have the policy, the kids fall in line because they know that it's distracting them, especially by middle and high school. They know.
Hello. Okay, and we are back. Moving on to item number 8, President remarks. I have a few words to say. So welcome back. So we are about 3 weeks into 2025-2026 school year, but with this being the first board meeting since the start of the year, welcome back to school. We have a great year planned ahead. For those joining for the first time, the Dunellen Board of Education is the governing body of the school district. We donate our time out of a deep compassion for our students and work to make decisions based on what we believe will best help all of our students be successful. The board meets about once per month here in the LMS cafetorium for a public meeting that covers school district updates, an update from our student representatives, student recognitions, and important presentations. Our agendas are posted prior to the meeting on the Dunellen School district website, along with past agendas and attachments. I invite you to join us in our monthly discussions. So, since we last met, a couple of things. What do we do here? We had some new staff orientation, introducing our latest additions to the school community. We had convocation with the broader school community, which included keynote speaker Todd Nesloni, who is a passionate advocate for students and staff and helping others tell their story. We had back to school night at both DHS and Faber, great successes. Don't forget to sign up and participate with the PTO. And back to school night at LMS is this Thursday night. And all of our fall sports teams have had their first games or matches. Go Destroyers. I said this last time and I want to reiterate it. I want to shout out for the wonderful improvements that we've had since we met since the end of last year. A lot of great work has been done to get our schools ready for this year's start, and so many improvements. Of the many improvements, I'm particularly excited to see the openings of the new art room and new STEAM classroom at Lincoln Middle School, among many, many other improvements. But this means that we now have an art room and a STEM classroom in each of the 3 schools covering K through 12, which I think is impressive. Looking back just a few years ago, we weren't even close to that. And I'd like to give a great big thanks to Mr. Ross, school administrators, teachers, and staff for getting us prepared and getting us going. Staying healthy. Healthy kids means healthy schools, which means a healthy community. Bottom line, we encourage you to take the common sense, proven precautions like washing hands well, covering up when sneezing, keeping sick kids home, keeping up with vaccinations to minimize the spread of infectious diseases that can really impact our school year. Monthly celebrations. In September, we recognize Hispanic Heritage Month, as well as National Suicide Prevention Month and Rosh Hashanah. In October, next month, there will be a number of Heritage Monthly celebrations for German Americans, for Italian Americans, and Filipino Americans. There are individual day celebrations in October on the 10th, World Mental Health Day, World Inclusion Day, on the 11th, National Coming Out Day, as well as Yom Kippur and Diwali. And I mention these celebrations to underscore how important diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging are to our lives and the world around us. With diversity, we're able to welcome and appreciate different views and perspectives and how that makes our lives richer and stronger. Equity is important, so we are all playing on the same field by the same rules. Inclusion is key, so there is equal access to opportunities and resources for everyone. And with belonging, you feel you are part of something, a group, a community, where you are accepted, valued, and comfortable. You fit in and are an important part of the whole. These things have an unbelievable impact on our community, especially our kids. Open, honest, and genuine communication that is respectful, positive, supportive, fair, and most of all, kind, goes a long way in strengthening a community. Again, welcome back, students and parents. Forward on to a great year ahead. Thank you, everyone, for your time and listening. Moving on to the superintendent's report with Mr. Ross.
Thank you, Dr. Gendrano. I'm going to start with the presentation, so let's get that set up. All right. Ooh. All right, so tonight I'm going to just provide a little bit of an overview on the middle school scheduling changes for the 25-26 school year. And this is not covering every change that exists at middle school from last year schedule to this year. This is really going to focus on the elimination of the honors designation of the courses in the subject areas, et cetera. So I'll get to all the details and talk about sort of some of the rationale and next steps. So this presentation is posted on the website, so it is publicly available. Feel free to refer to it while I'm presenting or after the fact. There's basically 6 kind of who, what, when, where, why questions that are addressed in this presentation, just so that everyone understands sort of the purpose of the presentation and also what it does address. So what were the scheduling changes? Why did the changes take place? How will students be supported through the changes? When will the changes be reviewed and assessed? And who will be involved in assessing the changes? So the what of this, what were the scheduling changes? And as I mentioned, honors classes, and we spoke about this at the last board meeting, were eliminated for ELA, social studies, and science. The designation honors existed in 7th and 8th grade science classes, 7th and 8th grade social studies classes, and the ELA classes in language arts and writing in grades 6, 7, and 8. The honors designation was also removed for math classes, although separate math classes are still in the schedule. They're just not called honors anymore. Math 6 honors is now called Pre-Algebra 6. Intro to Algebra 7 honors is now called Intro to Algebra 7. And Algebra 1-8 honors is just called Algebra 1-8. So those were the actual changes, the classes that were affected. So why did the changes take place? There are a couple of primary drivers for this. The first, and I spoke at length about this at the last board meeting, was really equity and opportunity. Honors courses, from a disproportionality perspective, included 0 multilingual learners and 0 students with IEPs. This is all of the honors classes that were offered at the middle school last year had no students who were MLs and no students who had IEPs. Honors courses were also disproportionately represented in terms of economically disadvantaged students and Hispanic students, as I put the numbers there. And we also had movement from non-honors to honors classes that was very, very limited. So if you were an incoming sixth grader and you were placed in a non-honors English class, for example, the opportunities or the likelihood of you moving from sixth grade to seventh grade honors was rare. We did have students that did it, but predominantly it was essentially a track that you fell into that you were then kind of destined to remain in based on the data that we saw. And students in honors courses often had more opportunities than students in non-honors courses. The sort of primary example of this is the science fair, and we know that only honors students were invited to that, which is not a suitable practice for a school district. Scheduling improvements also came in as a part of this conversation. By reducing the number of different classes in a very small school, it makes scheduling much easier. Class sizes are much more balanced this year. Last year there were classes of 28 and 29, sometimes 30. And this year we have, I think, one class of 26. It's a social studies class. Everything else is under 25, 24, and thereabouts. Class makeup is also more heterogeneous. It allows for more peer-to-peer collaboration and support. So we don't have makeup of class of students who feel a certain way about themselves and then another class of students who feel a different way about themselves, and sort of all of the expectations that come from the adults in the spaces as well. So the more heterogeneous mixing has been a very positive thing in our short experience with it so far. Honors classes also coupled with new art and STEM classes allow for a better flow to the student day. So students are now, they just have a better flow to their day in terms of the classes that they're taking and the experiences that they have. The last primary reason is the culture of expectations. Class culture and students' own expectations of their abilities is really something that is a real primary driver, as we all know, especially those of us who are parents or educators. If you've been in an environment where there's a lack of self-belief, there is often a related lack of performance or a lack of outcomes. And when you can flip someone's self-belief and sort of self-efficacy and self-concept, right, that really does often lead to better outcomes. So the goal here is about raising the floor and also supporting the students who are at the top. We believe that these changes will do exactly that. So how will students be supported through the changes? There's really two primary drivers of this. The first is a multi-tiered system of supports. So when I arrived in the district, we started to talk about assessment. Assessment was not something that was really understood or well used in Dunellen Public Schools. Now we have, I think, a pretty rich culture, a richer understanding, I would say. We're well on the way to really understanding what assessments we're taking, why we're taking them, and what we do with the data. We have very strong PLCs that we're structuring this year, where we're going to continue to talk about the data that's been gathered. We have interventionists. For the first time, we added this position at the middle school. So we have someone who's dedicated in their position to do data crunching for and with staff members, push into classrooms where we might need additional support even at the Tier 1 level, and then also pull students out that might need additional support or additional enrichment. The differentiation that occurs in the classroom is obviously far easier when you have smaller class sizes. We also have, our classes are now supported by an in-class support model for students with special needs, for multilingual learners, and also our interventionists will be providing some of that support as well. And one of our focuses that we started last year is small group instruction. And the way that really this has kind of a significant effect on this is that the traditional model that you think of kind of the want teacher in the front of the classroom from Charlie Brown is a totally undifferentiated experience for students where everybody's hearing one thing. In a small group lesson, after a 5 to 10 minute introduction, teacher is able to pull small groups of students based on assessments that they're given. This is a very common practice at the elementary level and less common as you sort of move through towards high school. But it is something that we started to focus on last year and something that we're very much doubling down on this year. Along with the tiered system of supports, which will be supported in a number of ways, we have a lot of staff development and additional resources that we are investing our time and energy towards. The first is the New Jersey Inclusion Project, which, as I've shared before, is a 3-year partnership with the New Jersey Department of Education, where we have coaches from the Office of Special Education and an outside group who are going to be working with our staff. There's an absolute ton of professional development that staff members and administrators are going to have access to. And it is the building of the understanding of how 2 certificated staff members, or 3 even, work in a productive way with each other to support students in a classroom. So that kind of inclusive model is something that we've built our classes around, especially at the elementary level, when we basically changed the way our multilingual learners were experiencing, their instruction and intervention as well. And now that's focused both at Faber and the middle school, which are the two schools that have been accepted into the Inclusion Project. We have new ELA curriculum in the middle school. This is part of our overhaul of ELA curriculum K-8. We're using core resources from Great Minds. Wit and Wisdom was introduced last year in a full implementation in grades 3 through 5. At K2 and 6-8, the program is the same program, but it has a different name. It's called Arts and Letters. And our 6-8 ELA teachers received 3-hour introductory training on the new core resource on Thursday. It is a very nonfiction heavy resource, and our curriculum has been rewritten to support that nonfiction type of approach in addition to literature, so that students both have an understanding of kind of the reading strategies, but also have background knowledge, which is really sort of the essential way that students learn how to read and improve their reading comprehension. We're doing instructional walkthroughs. This is something that I'll talk about later on as well, but since last Monday, the administrative team has done over 50 instructional walkthroughs. Many of those have been at the middle school. We are using a Tier 1 instructional walkthrough chart sort of battery that we developed that looks at the type of instruction that's being provided, the type of assessment, and the type of differentiation that is visible in the classroom. We have a lot of committee work, and we also have our team meetings and our PLC meetings, which are led by our learning experience leaders. Ms. Drapkin led the committees iReady to Inspire, Power of Data and Assessment, and the Dunellen Tiered System of Supports last year, and those committees will continue to be supported this year. Our team meetings at the grade levels are really designed for grade level teachers to discuss the strategies that are working to support students in their particular grade. And our PLC meetings are really a deep dive into understanding what data is being collected, what the data means, and then what strategies can be used to improve student outcomes, and then a check-in to see what worked and what didn't work, and then sort of adjusting and continuing from there. And the last thing that we're doing is, again, tied to one of our core initiatives this year, core priorities, which is about staff feedback. And so we made this change in consultation and discussion with staff, and that means that we really need to understand their feedback and their experience as we go through this to ensure that we have the right support set up. So we started rounding last year. We are continuing rounding, and we have 30 and 90-day check-ins with our new staff members, as well as conversations at faculty meetings and all of the other kinds of ways in which feedback is gathered. So the when and the who in terms of assessment and review. The changes will be reviewed by staff and administration regularly throughout the year through the various meetings and committee structures, as I just mentioned. Students will also be able to provide their feedback. We've heard a lot of informal feedback from students about how much better they feel their experience has been in a lot of cases. Just having their friends in the classes, having smaller class sizes, just having it be more mixed up in a way has been a really positive thing. The student council and the middle school student voice group will also be another avenue for feedback. And then parents will be able to provide feedback directly to staff, as they always have, and the administration, as they always have, and then also through participation in the school-wide Title I stakeholder meeting process. We ran this process last year. We had a couple of parents who were involved in it. This is part of our requirements for school-wide Title I status at the middle school, this is our first year fully implementing that. And that means that there are quarterly meetings where there's data that is discussed about academic performance and also behavior and conduct. And that is a sort of cross-functional stakeholder group that includes the administrators, parents, students, staff members, and I think a community member as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for feedback, both in sort of the regular formative process of just like my kid is having this experience or my kid is having that experience. Obviously, everybody in the district is open to that type of feedback. All of that feedback begins at the teacher level. So if parents have concerns or questions about their child's experience, they can certainly always reach out to the teacher first and foremost. And then subsequent conversations can be had with the administration. And we obviously want to make sure that this works for all students and know exactly sort of where we want to go. So continuous improvement cycle, which is something that we I mentioned and I sort of discussed with staff during convocation. This is really the way that we address all of the initiatives that we are looking to bring into the district. What are we doing that's working and not working? What will success look like? So, what sort of success criteria are we considering? The buildings have goals, the departments have goals, and there are particular outcomes that everybody's trying to strive for. And next meeting or December, there's a lot of presentations, but I will provide a district goals update that explains some of these things as well. How do we know if we're successful? So what metrics do we actually use? And then what do we do if we do achieve success? And then what do we do if we have not? What steps can we take in order to get there? So just some final thoughts. The work that we're doing is certainly research-based practices. I just named a couple. Collective teacher efficacy is probably the most significant effect size of any educational practice. This is really based on the work of John Hattie, whose kind of seminal work, Visible Learning, is really widely cited in education. It's a meta-analysis of instructional practices and school-based practices that can affect positive student outcomes. So collective teacher efficacy is really, like, what it means simply is that we do things to try to make all teachers better. And teachers engage in practices that try to make their collective efficacy better. And that's really central to what we do. All of that, the meetings, the PLC conversations, the committee work is really about supporting staff members. Our staff, especially in changes and when new things have come up, they're very responsive, very responsible to the things that are asked of them. They're also very good at providing feedback and very clear about that, about the kinds of things that they need. And in my rounding conversations this year, I've gotten really good feedback, some positive and some areas of growth of the things that we're implementing. So that collective teacher efficacy piece is really central, right? We need teachers to be able to address individual student needs. We need them to recognize how to differentiate materials or their instructional practices, et cetera. Response to intervention is the tiered system of supports. Building self-efficacy is really about student success and that sort of self-value piece that I spoke about. Comprehensive instructional programs for teachers is really what we're doing, especially in the ELA programming right now. And then feedback, which I've spoken at length at. And still we know, right, change is hard. No implementation is perfect on its first attempt. And there are lessons to learn, and that means that we'll actively seek feedback from our stakeholders. So I'm excited about this. I think the staff is very excited about this. I know the administration is very excited about this. I know that there's a lot of trepidation in sort of understanding, what the changes were and not knowing exactly what it was going to look like. I hope that this provides a little bit of clarity. Really, for me, I think the biggest amount of clarity will be in the student experience. So are students experiencing school in a positive way? Do they feel supported? Do they feel like they're making progress and learning at an appropriate pace? And if we can get that feedback from students and find that that's largely true for the body and we can pull our academic outcomes up, I think that's really where the proof is. Just as a kind of caveat to this whole thing, the middle school outputs have been significantly below averages, below state averages, below average in terms of our demographic profile. And the model that we were working with needed to be improved. And I think that this is a really strong step in the right direction. I think it's invigorating to a lot of staff members and certainly to the administrators. And I think it's definitely something that we're excited about, as I said. So thank you. I'm happy to take questions from board members or comments.
Just thank you, Mr. Ross. Just to comment that this presentation is posted on the district website. So for members of the community that have questions, hopefully if they couldn't make tonight's meeting, they take some time to review the presentation that you just gave. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to say pretty much the same thing. I think now that there was a yearning for information as to more about this in detail, and now with the presentation as well as I think the time with on YouTube can also be listened to back again. That's great background for folks for them to understand better what it is.
Great. Thank you.
Just a quick process question, because there's a lot of things that we're implementing to really increase performance for our students. How quickly are we going to see kind of the results or things? Because as you noted in the last meeting, we saw some of the scores that were not really up to par for the average. And when can we expect to see like the feedback and some implementations actually reap some benefits from that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict. I wish I could say it's going to be this spring or next spring or whatever. I'll say a couple things. The first is next meeting, you'll see the NJSLA results from the spring. So we'll have a baseline, which is, as I said, there's a lot of room for improvement. We do collect a lot of data that is assessed throughout the year. Our Linkit benchmarks are aligned to, they're supposed to be predictive of NJSLA results. And so we should have data about, we'll have iReady data and we'll have Linkit data to compare against last year. And the year before that, I think, was the first year of implementation. So we will have a better sense. Academic outputs are always a lagging indicator. So they're not the most they're not the most formative of assessment tools that we have at hand. But obviously the goal is to build the structure so that we have a very strong foundation at the elementary level, and you'll see those scores as well. They're excellent. And then we get to the middle school and there's a drop off. And there are a lot of reasons for that, right? But we know that we can't solve all the reasons. What we can solve is the teaching and learning side and the curriculum core resource side. And so if we can really positively impact that and also work on, a positive school climate where kids want to come to school, they want to take these assessments seriously, we can have reduced discipline issues and conduct concerns and those sorts of things. That all contributes to, I think, an environment that can certainly eventually lead to greater, higher academic outputs.
Thank you.
Yep.
I would also like to add, thank you, Mr. Ross, for this presentation. I feel like it helps clarify a lot of questions. As you had mentioned, change can be very unsettling, and I feel like this helps really, helps the community understand this change, and the purpose of it, and it's good to hear that the class sizes also have demonstrated a nice reduction there too. So thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you all. All right, so I will continue my report with just a couple of items. We have, I believe, 2 additions to the agenda that was posted on Friday, and I think, is it that both changes are in the staff list? Yeah, so two staff list changes. The first is we're very, very excited to announce the hiring of our new district security coordinator, Mr. Chris Young. Mr. Young is a Dunellen resident. He is a parent in town. He has a 27-year career with the Piscataway Police Department. and he recently retired from that position. He went through a formal process that involved a number of administrative and staff stakeholders and came out as the successful candidate. And he will actually be beginning in the district on Thursday. So we will, for the first time, have a fully enacted security staff of 3 individuals. We have Sergeant Lovell from Dunellen Police Department. We have Antoine Ferret, who is our district security guard, and now we'll have Mr. Young as well as a district security coordinator. So that's very exciting for us. We're also, the other change is the hiring of a new instructional coach. We had an instructional coach position, which was a 6-12 instructional coach that was vacated by Miss Ashley Powell, who became the assistant principal at Dunellen High School. There was a long process of searching with performance tasks, et cetera, and our successful candidate is Carrie Johnson, and she is on tonight's agenda as well. She's got, I think, 16 years of experience in New York City, North Plainfield, and in Piscataway as a high school teacher, middle school teacher, and as an interventionist. So we look forward to her joining the team as well. Just some facility updates. Dr. Gendrano mentioned changes at LMS. The middle school art and STEM rooms continue to have furniture and resources delivered. So they're still a work in progress, but they're getting there. They're sort of beautiful rooms that will be very, very functional rooms in about a month or so. But kids are in those classes. There's a dedicated space to those rooms. I know Mr. Peluso and Mr. Howard are very excited to have a dedicated instructional space, and materials and all the things are being delivered over the next month. Our new counselor offices at the middle school are also fully functional, up and running. So our counselors have 2 beautiful spaces that our facilities team was able to carve out of existing rooms in the building, and so that's been fantastic. And the middle school faculty room is also still a work in progress. Furniture was delivered. The bathroom is being finalized and will be set up, I believe, this week. And there are a couple other things that have to be added to the final finishing touches for it. But again, huge kudos to the facilities team for their work on that. We had the opening of school, which was a very smooth opening. There's been very, very positive feedback about the first couple of weeks of school from staff and from students. The Faber traffic pattern has been a particular point of note, as it is each year, usually for bad reasons, but I think this year for good reasons. There is a shift in staffing where we were able to flex individual staff members' times to come in a little earlier and open the door for some kids starting at 7:50, and that has alleviated a lot of the sort of bottleneck that occurs in the horseshoe. So we'll be looking at some other things to do to increase safety. We've talked about installing semi-permanent or non-permanent speed bumps to try to just alleviate some of the kind of zipping around the horseshoe that folks might do if they're in a rush in the morning, and also our contractors, just to ensure that they're driving safely. And then we'll continue to monitor and make sure that everything is good in that space. Back to school nights, we had our first 2 back to school nights. We were very pleased to introduce our wacky waving inflatable arm tube guy at the Faber back to school night on the 18th. Middle school is the last one on the 25th, and I know Mr. Tobin has been working with his staff very closely to ensure that that's a really positive event. One of the really significant improvements that we made with back to school night this year is that we are now offering live translation to up to 24 Spanish-speaking individuals who would prefer to listen to a live translated presentation from their administrators. So we have Beatriz Jimenez, who is our community parent involvement specialist, has a microphone, and we have these packs basically, and we give the pack to the parent. The parent has an earpiece, and we provide live translation. When Ms. Jimenez spoke at the 2 back to school nights, we had another Spanish-speaking staff member translate for Ms. Jimenez, and it's just been, it's incredible. I wish we could do it for 100 parents or 200. We're limited right now by the number of devices, but I know that that's helped build a connection and ensure that people are really hearing the information that we're sharing. Goal setting, I talked a little bit about goal setting through the scheduling presentation, but we have 6 priorities, and I'm just going to talk about them, regularly and kind of provide updates. So our 6 priorities for the 25-26 school year are, the first one is PLCs, professional learning communities. We have learning experience leaders, which are staff members at each building who have received a solid amount of training on how to lead PLCs, what their purpose is, how to facilitate them, what the use of data is, et cetera, as well as some curriculum tools and AI tools as well. So those folks have rolled out PLCs. They've now been rolled out both in the beginning of the school year and then now also at the first the meeting at the building level. And PLCs are really designed to talk about student data and talk about how to intervene on student learning based on the data that's collected. So exciting times ahead for that. Our tiered system of supports I've talked quite a bit about. The interventionist team has been meeting in the first 2 weeks of school to outline the MTSS process that will be followed at Faber and at the middle school, and just sort of what the protocols will be, what the data sources are, what information is available about student performance, how it's looked at, when it's discussed, that sort of thing. So the interventionists did a really wonderful job, very proud of their work, and they've been a really supportive, cohesive group for each other as well, which has been great. Instructional walkthroughs, instructional improvements is a third priority. We have over 60 walkthroughs since last Monday when this process started. Our administrative team will be doing 5 walkthroughs, at least 5 walkthroughs per week. And walkthroughs are short. They're 5 to 7 minute data collection, just seeing what the practices are, a couple checkboxes and a note section. And the goal of the walkthroughs process is we will be meeting monthly as an admin team and we'll be discussing what we see. And so as a group, when we have, let's say, 200 walkthroughs to talk about the data of, if 150 of them had small group instruction as the primary mode of instruction, that's good. That means that there's a lot of small group instruction and we can capitalize that and push on that. And similarly, if there are other good practices, we can address those and try to build more consensus around those. Curriculum implementation, we've been very heavy with ELA training. Our K2 folks had training today, and our 3 folks have training on Thursday for Wit and Wisdom. So that's been a real focus area. Our 5th area of priority is attendance, and this is really looking at chronic absenteeism. So now we have automated reports that are being sent to the principals each week. In my biweekly meeting with the principals group, we're discussing the % of students who are currently at sort of on pace to be chronically absent. And again, we want to really, this is all about proactivity. So it's really about providing intervention for students who are not making it to school and finding out why that's the case, what that data actually tells us. And our chronic absenteeism as a district hovers right around that 10% marker. We have very heavy spots, as every school district in the state does. Kindergarten and pre-K there's a lot of absenteeism at those grades. So Faber's numbers sometimes can get skewed a little bit. But again, we don't want students to think that they should be absent 18 times during the school year, right? We want them to be in school as much as possible. And so talking to them, building that culture of being present is really essential. And then the last of the priorities is feedback. This is staff member feedback and student feedback. So as I discussed, rounding is a primary target of ours that we'll be using heavily this year. Student voice groups for on the student side. We also, part of this process is also recognition, and so it's understanding what people's feedback is, and then also understanding ways to celebrate our staff members and our colleagues and people that are doing good things for each other or for students or for the district or the building or whatever it might be. One of the tools that we use for that is a program called Highlight, which we introduced last year. During the 24-25 school year, there were 339 highlights that were given. And so that means a staff member said, I'm going to send a highlight to Dr. Gendrano for building relationships. Dr. Gendrano did this thing. There was a student crying in the hallway, and Dr. Gendrano went up and comforted the student, and took him over to the water fountain and got him some water, and then he walked away happy, whatever it was. So we had 339 for the entire 24-25 school year. This year we have 203 already. In this is the third full week of school. So there's an embrace of the tool. There's an embrace of the process. There's always cynicism, skepticism around some of these types of things, right? But I think that we all feel great when someone says you did a great job, or you get recognized. And this is a very public, within the school district type of recognition process. And so I'm really pleased to see the use. We have a lot of people who are sending highlights that didn't send highlights last year. We have people who are being recognized and thanked for their amazing work that really deserve it. And so it's wonderful to see that. So part of the goal setting process is that we have really significant dashboarding that we're using internally on the administrative team, which I will talk more about when I have the opportunity to share. But each of the buildings has very specific academic output goals and also very specific SEL goals, which will be measured monthly at our admin meetings and then quarterly as a full recap. So there is it's a very progressive, deliberate way of addressing progress towards the goals that we're setting. We also have goals in the area of operations that Mr. Pepe is in charge of, and that's really around sort of customer service in the business office, the purchasing and requisition process, and obtaining feedback about how to improve the operational efficiency, which is obviously goal 3. And then the last piece of the goal setting work is really our work with the Labor Management Collaborative. And I've talked about the LMC before, but we have a meeting set up next week to discuss kind of next steps for LMC. We had the 2 great trainings in August, and we're hoping to get October to be the kickoff for our school-based meetings for the Labor Management Collaborative. And again, just as a recap, that is a meeting that occurs between administrators and staff members in a building where they talk about issues in a really structured, constructive, positive manner, and talk about who kind of has ownership and feedback and opportunity for decision-making within that process, and then how you sort of work through that to find solutions. Not every problem is solvable, and not every problem that arises allows a consensus or requires a consensus. But there are a lot of issues that we talk about in schools that are ripe for that type of thing, where there might be, too much on the administrative side, sort of directive orientation rather than really a much more collaborative mindset where there's a lot of really good input and ideas that could be gathered from the folks who are really living on the classroom level themselves. We have 4 grants that are still open. They were supposed to be decided upon on September 15th. So those are 4 literacy grants. We will keep everyone posted on those. I mentioned the inclusion project, so I don't need to speak more about that. We have a big facilities project that is pending right now. This is the pre-K expansion. We have an updated timeline. We had the pre-bid walkthrough with 3 contractors who attended today. We have a questions period, and the bid opening is going to occur on October 17th. Our construction schedule, assuming that all things sort of go well, is about a 14-month process, which takes us through December 2026, and has construction starting sometime in the winter of this year. This is a tentative timeline, so this is all subject to change. This all also is dependent on the bids that come in. So as I think you're aware, we had about a $6.5 million project when we started. After redesigning the project, it climbed to about a $7.5 million project, and we don't know necessarily where the bids will come in, but at a certain price point, we'll have to say this is not a project that we can fund. We do not want to deplete our capital reserve for this. We certainly can't take out more debt or anything like that. So if bids come in at $11 million, we say, thank you, but we're just not going to do this project. If the bids come in more in the high sevens range, then we've got funding that we can attribute to this, and we can move forward with the project. So that's going to be a learning process that we're going to have to go through over the next month or two. We had on September 10th the PTO potluck dinner, which was incredible. I want to thank the PTO members who came out, the PTO leadership for organizing it, and also Beatrice Jimenez, our CPIS, for really kind of helping to run the show. So Maria Bartman and Dr. Rebecca Giangiano just did an amazing job with it. We had, it was 40 families or 50 families? Yeah. The food was incredible. The conversation was great. It was just a really positive community building event. So thank you to everyone who came out, and thank you especially to those who helped organize it. We had class officer elections at the high school on Friday, and we have a new senior class president who is Queen Emile. And Mr. Lynch spoke to Queen about becoming the second rep to the board, and she is going to be interested in doing that. So her first meeting will be in October, and we'll appoint her at that time. Our class of 27, the current junior class president is Caitlin Wallace. The sophomore class president is Samara Mangaru, and the freshman class president is Colin Reynolds. We've been using School Links as our new college planning platform. This replaced Naviance this year. So the district used Naviance for a long time, as have many districts across the country. School Links is a much lighter tool. It's a much more student-friendly tool. The feedback that I've gotten from the students and from the staff members is that kids find it much more engaging, which is good because we want them to engage in the process of, you know, what happens to them after graduation. And so, you know, we'll provide more updates on that. But the senior class has been trained in how to use it. The junior class will be trained in sort of the spring, but all students have now access to it, and they can start playing around and, you know, going on virtual college tours and, you know, doing that sort of thing. It's School Links, yeah, with one L in the middle. And then the last thing I'll mention is just the school boards conference, which is after our next meeting in October. It's the 21st or something like that, 20th? 20th to the 23rd. The district does have a presentation. We put in two applications, submissions, and we are presenting on the work that we've done to support multilingual learners and their families in the district. And so I'll be presenting with Ms. Drapkin and Abby Franklin from the middle school. I'll also have the opportunity as well to present with some folks from NJDOE and NJEA on the new state evaluation work. So that'll be Tuesday, which will be a fun thing to do as well. With that, I will move to the enrollment report. The enrollment update is on the website and is available. But as of the most recent update, we have now 1,412 students, including our pre-K expansion. We have 605 at Faber, 313 at the middle school, and 410 at the high school. And from last meeting to this meeting, we're up 26 students, and a lot of those were pending enrollments and things like that. So we have fewer than 10 pending enrollments at this point. So we're going to end up around 1415 to about 1420 or so, probably for the next little while, unless we get another bump of students. So just for historical context, in 2018-19, we had 1,286 students. In the 2021 school year, it dropped to 1,228. And then when I arrived in 22-23 school year, there was 1,320. So we're about 100 students up from that. And we also, you know, we did implement the re-registration process for students in grades 6 through 9, which I think was a very helpful process. We certainly learned some lessons about things we need to do better in terms of communication and kind of starting that process earlier. But that's also been a helpful process to kind of just create a dragnet for the students who are attending the district and the type of paperwork that we're being provided to ensure that registrations are legitimate. That's the end of my report, and I will turn it over to Douglas.
All right, so good evening, everybody. It is my pleasure to see everyone here again and continue being the student representative for the 2025-2026 school year. I look forward to continuing working together and continuing to contribute to our community as much as possible. To start the student report for the month of September, I will highlight some things that have gone on at Dunellen High School. We had our class elections that were held, and the candidates elected are getting started with their teams to assure a successful year for their classes. We also had a representative from Princeton University yesterday, Monday 22nd, where students had the opportunity to hear more about what the university has to offer, and also ask questions to decide if they are interested in attending. Also, yesterday was picture day, and students were getting ready to look neat for their yearly picture. Clubs are having interest meetings and getting started so that students are able to spend some time after school doing activities they like and getting involved in their community. As we had in the beginning of the meeting, we had 7 students who received a perfect score on the English portion of the NJGPA, which is a graduation requirement, and we also had 1 student who exited the ESL program due to outstanding scores on the access testing. I think that's great, since that shows how much our students are putting the effort in their classes and how much they are trying to do the best that they can so that they can have a brighter future. Students continue to adapt to the new school year, but I have no doubt that everyone will have a successful year going ahead. To continue with the student report, we have information from Lincoln Middle School written by Sonia Diaz, an 8th grade student. In her journey to recognize the events for the first 2 weeks of school, she wrote, "The middle school students are now adjusting to the new year, our classes, and our teachers. Many middle school students are also joining fall sports like cross country, which has their next meet on Wednesday. The cross-country team also had their first win the past Monday. The returning students are also getting adjusted to the new principal, Mr. Tobin. Students are also notice the changes in their lunches as we are seeing the changes in food quality. Some examples are the fresh fruits and vegetables, as well as more options than seen in previous years. Middle school students are also getting adjusted to the new iReady test-taking format. There are many mixed opinions." Moving to Favorite Elementary School, I was able to receive a list of updates from the first weeks of school for Favorite Elementary students. They have launched environmental enrichment classes across all grades levels, featuring aquaponics, hydroponics, and outdoor planters, giving students hands-on experience with sustainable growing systems. Favor is now connected with Rockers Climate Groups. Selected 4th and 5th graders will join a student advisory group, presenting and discussing our aquaponics systems with students from other schools across the state. Girls on the Run officially began today. This empowering program for girls in grades 3 through 5 combines physical activities with lessons in confidence, social emotional learning, and healthy lifestyle habits. Also, their Harry Potter club is bringing magic to STEM. Students explore the world of Harry Potter through hands-on experiments, including wand-making potions and creating edible mythical creatures. In just a few weeks, we'll be introducing our broadcasting club led by Mr. D'Amico. This club will give students opportunities to build creative teamwork and communication skills through real-world broadcasting experiences. I want to add to what Mr. Ross also commented about the new schooling tool. I feel that for the high school level, that tool is way better than Naviance, and that will also give us a lot of new ways to apply for colleges easier, since it's easier to use than Naviance, and also the way that it connects with Common App is more efficient than Naviance, and it will just give students a better chance on getting more applications out to colleges, and hopefully that will bring up the number of admissions to colleges for students. So I think that was a good change. So this concludes the student representative report for the month of September. Again, it is always a pleasure to be able to communicate the events happening throughout our district. I look forward to seeing every one of you next month.
Awesome. Thank you, Douglas. And I just also want to thank you, Douglas, for your leadership and support, especially of our Spanish-speaking students. Douglas is super involved in Project Connect at the high school, and the goal of the group is to provide student-to-student mentoring for students who are new to the country or new to the school or new to the town. And you know, Douglas's nickname is the mayor because he just goes around and says hello to everyone and welcomes everyone, and that feeling of community is a really important aspect of that. So really appreciate that. So that's it. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Thank you, Mr. Severin. I wanted to just ask a quick question, or mention just comment, sorry. So the enrollment report, we're up 100. That tracks with the demographics report pretty nicely. So if you all remember, we did that a year ago or so, or a little more than a year ago, actually. And that was a commission study that actually, you know, predicted how many students to expect. So I think the report is still on our website, so yes. All right. Moving on to item number 10, public comments on agenda action items only. So the board invites public comment from members of our community in accordance with board policy 0167 on agenda action items to be voted on only. Public comment sections are intended to provide an opportunity for members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The board and administration will take notes during public comments, but will not provide substantive responses to questions or concerns raised by individual speakers. If necessary, the superintendent may provide a brief response after the entire public comment period is completed. The board appreciates and welcomes feedback from the community, but is not at liberty to engage in a back-and-forth dialogue with members of the public during this portion of the meeting. Prior to making your public comment, please state your name and municipality. Please note that all statements must be directed to the presiding officer. Please come to the microphone at this time if you would like to make comments on agenda action items to be voted on only. Prior to beginning your comment, please state the action item to be voted on that you would like to comment on. Last call. Okay. Moving on to item number 11, education discussion items. I will turn this over to Mrs. Howard, the chair of the Education Committee.
Thank you. The Education Committee met on September 15th at 6 p.m. Present were myself, Ms. Ibeck, Ms. Schimpf, Dr. Gendrano, Ms. Drapkin, Dr. Santaniello, and Mr. Ross. The Education Committee discussed a number of items, including an update on the district's goal-setting work for the 25-26 school year, items on tonight's agenda for approval, including a number of policies, regulations, and bylaws recommended for first reading, acceptance of a student to continue at DHS for 12th grade as per policy 5111, a survey that will be administered at DHS this year, and a books donation that is in the operations section for approval. We also discussed a wide range of staff professional development occurring throughout the district, an update on grants that have been awarded and applied to through the NJDOE, information about leveling changes at LMS, and a variety of other items and confidential matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Howard. Moving on to item number 12, education action items. Looking for a motion to move 12A through G as a block.
Move to approve items A through G as a block.
Second.
Open for questions or comments.
I just had a quick question. The boys soccer team is going on a field trip to Piscataway. Is that That's during the school day? Oh, it's,
It's a Rutgers soccer game. They're going to a Rutgers
oh,
soccer game.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. Oh, that's that field.
Yes.
I didn't know that was what it was
That's,
called.
that's why it sounded familiar.
That's great.
Okay.
That should be a great experience for them.
I was also going to just add, item A is for the first reading of those three policies for statutory curriculum requirements, student sun protection, very important, and substance abuse. Oh, right, and code of conduct, sorry. Code of conduct as well. So, questions, comments? Last call? Okay, Mr. Pepe, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Condit,
Yes.
Ms. Ibeck,
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy,
Yes.
Mrs. Shep,
Yes, but abstaining from D3.
and Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Oh, wonderful. Moving on to item number 13, personnel discussion items. I chair that committee, so I'll go ahead and give that report. So on the 15th of September, the Education Committee met. In attendance were myself, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Shep, and Mr. Ross. And we discussed a number of items, including updated job descriptions that are on tonight's agenda for approval, staffing information for the current year, details about the site-based teams for the New Jersey Inclusion Project, an update on the negotiations between the board and the DAA, and a number of confidential items. Thus closes my report. Moving on to item number 14, action items for personnel. Looking for a motion to move 14A through, oh my goodness, I didn't write this down. A through R as a block.
Motion to move 14A through R as a block.
Second.
Open for questions or comments?
I just want to point out the two job description changes. The only change in those two job descriptions is the code reference that is in the beginning of whatever the section is. Other responsibilities was incorrect, and so that's now been updated.
So just to clarify too, I think we're on R28 for school boards. We can still vote for ourselves, yes? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right, just making sure. And I did also want to just add, in section R, kind of along the lines of what, Mr. Ross, what you were saying earlier about the supports. I don't know if this is a record, but 43 PD approval, like travel approvals for travel for professional development. Like that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's the beginning of the school year. There's a lot that sort of blocks in here.
Okay.
But I will say that we have to be careful about staff travel as we move forward, especially given the uncertainty around federal funds in the future. So we're trying to tighten things up in our processes for out-of-district professional development, because we are providing a lot of in-district professional development. But yes, I mean, for the first meeting, we've got lots and lots of training, and it's all very much aligned to the principles that we've established. So,
Yes, that's wonderful, wonderful. Any other questions, comments?
Yes, I had a question about A2. The substitute coordinator, what are their job descriptions?
the substitute coordinator is a position that was created I think in my first year, and I think it was the 22-23 school year, maybe at the end of the year, or maybe it was the very beginning of the 23-24 school year. The district had been using ESS for daily subs, and if you recall, I think our fill rate was like 10% or something like that. And we decided that we would bring the process in-house. We advertised it internally for someone to basically be responsible for placing all of the approved district subs in openings. and that's what that person does. And so, Ms. LeBlanner has had that position since its inception. She gets up very early in the day, looks at all the openings, contacts all the substitutes, works later in the day to ensure that there's coverage, when available. And our fill rates have been probably above 80% every single day since then.
Any other questions or comments? Last call. Okay, Mr. Pepe, please call the roll.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Condit,
Yes.
Ms. Ibach,
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy,
Yes.
Mrs. Shep,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, moving on to, wow, I got to flip the pages here a couple times. I know it's operations, but I only get the right number right. There we go.
15.
Thank you, thank you. Moving on to item number 15. It's a hell of an agenda. On operations discussion items, the Operations Committee report. I'll turn it over to Mr. Walker, our committee chair.
Thank you, Dr. Gendrano. The Operations Committee met on September 15th. Present were myself, Ms. Condit, Dr. Gendrano, Mr. Pepe, and Mr. Ross. Excuse me. A number of items on tonight's agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. We discussed a number of items, including a number of items on tonight's agenda for approval, including policies, regulations, and bylaws for first reading, the donation and disposition of certain property, and acceptance of the funds from the NJDOE for the preschool facilities expansion grant, updates related to the district's preschool facilities expansion grant, updates on the many internal construction projects occurring throughout the district, security improvements and actions that are ongoing, and a variety of confidential matters. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Moving on to item number 16, operation action items. Looking for a motion to approve 16A through V as in Victor as a block.
Move to approve items A through V as a block.
Second.
Open for questions or comments. I did want to just call out for item number Q, 16Q, which are the donation of history books by Ms. Susan Kozel. I think I said that right? It's Kozel. And these are, I think the value of the books monetarily, I think, is roughly around $2,000. But I think the actual intrinsic value is way, 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 way much more than that, as it is a pretty, I wouldn't say complete, but a very much a great set of history books, as I understand it.
Yes. So Ms. Kozel is an academic. She's a high school graduate, a DHS graduate of 1976, class of 1976. And we don't have a full accounting of everything that she's donating, but it is books, historical artifacts, photographs. I mean, it's she's got an amazing collection. Some of her works have gone to the New York Art Museum or other libraries and things like that. But she did really express an interest in being able to give back to the district and to the school. And so we're happily accepting the donation. We have to figure out what to do with it. It's going to live in classrooms. It's going to live in public spaces within the buildings. But we're very glad to have been able to do that for her, and I think that we'll make very good use of it.
So, any other questions, comments? Last call. Okay. Mr. Pepe, go ahead. Please call the roll.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Condit,
Yes.
Ms. Ibach,
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy,
Yes.
Ms. excuse me, Mrs. Shep,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Wonderful. Moving on to item number 17, the Policy Committee report. Okay, then there is no Policy Committee report. That's a short report. Moving on to item number 18, topics for the board as a whole, action items. So looking to approve 18A and the policies therein.
Approve 18A.
Second.
Open for questions or comments. Sorry, it's bylaws, not
Bylaws, yeah, that's okay. So just an explanation, these are just like the other, most of the policies and regulations that are listed on the agenda. These are recommended updates based on legal changes. These 4 bylaws in particular were outlined by Strauss Esme, our policy provider, as being in need of updating because of either changes in code or changes in law or something like that. So that's why they're recommended here for first reading.
Wonderful. So, any questions, comments? All right. Mr. Pepe, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Condit,
Yes.
Ms. Ibeck,
Yes.
Dr. Gendrano,
Yes.
Mrs. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Satinoy,
Yes.
Mrs. Shep,
Yes.
and Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Moving on to number 19, old business. Any old business you guys want to stir back up? Since it's kind of on the cusp of old and new business, I'll just say NJSBA is coming up, October 20 to 23. I'm not sure which category to put it in, so I'll just do it right in the middle. Because it's old, but it's also new. So, and yes.
Dr.
Looking.
Gendrano, can I just add something?
Oh, please, go ahead.
Sure, I just want to clarify for the board members, because we just had a deadline of me asking you to let me know who's going and not, and we kind of pressed you on that. I do want you to know that there are still, any of you can still go if any of your circumstances change who aren't currently planning to go. And I just need to know as soon as possible if you are going to be able to go so I can see if I can still get a hotel room, that's all. But you know, just because we passed that one step doesn't mean you can't go at this point. You all can still go.
Well, the registration is still open for, like, it's covered.
Right, we have a group registration for up to 25 people, so there's plenty of space.
Right, so if you want to hang out and, pull an all-nighter on the boardwalk, that's fine, but, no. But, so, any other comments on that? It's very informative, and it's a great time to learn about all the different things. I'm excited about all the presentations. And I think, is it Joe Theismann this year? Yeah, Joe Theismann is the keynote speaker for this year. And wasn't there a local band also playing, or choir? I don't know. I'll have to go look back in my...
There are a lot of student groups that are performing. I know
Yes.
there's a group from Plainfield.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's plain.
Arts middle school, elementary school, middle school. Yeah.
Yes. It's an awesome event. So, all right, so moving on to item 20, new business. Any new business?
I have some.
Ms. Shep, Mrs. Shep.
So you, Noel, to kind of just give background here, mentioned that this month is Suicide Prevention Month.
Yes.
As a result of that, New Jersey every year holds a suicide prevention conference. So in attending that earlier this month, we were able to go to some breakout sessions, and one was really surrounding youth and how we can support them. But specifically how we can support them digitally. So it was something that was very interesting, so I wanted to be able to bring it up if it's not on the radar already. It's an app called Safe NJ, and it can be installed on phones, but it can also be installed on Chromebooks. And this app, it has a couple different features. One of the big things with it is that it does have the ability for anonymous third-party reporting. And there's an entity that's available 24/7 to filter through this. But one of the things that, in the mental health world we know is that a lot of what we become aware of, especially with our youth, comes through third parties first. So the app allows for that, but it also has a lot of areas for resources. So Second Floor, which I know our staff refer youth to here, it has information and accessibility for them to connect with Second Floor. and a bunch of other resources. One of the things, because of course I had to ask, was about cost. And
Of course.
the awesome part about that was there's a grant out right now that allows it to be free for districts for the next 2 school years.
Whoa.
So at least in terms of investment, it was low, but it was something that, you know, they spoke a lot about. They've had some success. It's in a lot of districts already and caught my eye.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. We'll definitely look into it.
Fantastic. And as we were discussing, I also was reminded there was a NJSB school boards event that's coming up. I believe it's in October. It should have been sent to your board accounts. There's like what is it? I think Mr. Zittimer, as well as the gentleman from Bush Law, will be there to talk about like how strategies or ways to approach some of these topics that have been coming up across school districts. And it's a SBA-sponsored event at the Pines Manor in Edison. So there's 2 parts to it. If you would like to join for dinner, there's a buffet that will be there. You have to register to be able to go, but it's free dinner for board members if you'd like to go. That's at 6 o'clock. I forget the actual date. It's in October, but can talk about the detail later. But then 6:45, I believe, is the beginning of the session. So if you want to just virtual in, you could join there as well, but you still have to register. I have to go back. I kind of just was remembering it as we're going. I didn't actually write it down, but it's in your school board, in your inbox, but it has to do with topics that are current that other districts have been engaging in. Yes.
So the session is called, so it's Tuesday, September 30th, Difficult Decisions, School Policies and Practice. The session will focus on policies that spark the greatest discussion in school communities, from curriculum choices, student rights to safety protocols, technology use. It's Mark Zittimer and Jonathan Bush. Yeah.
Sorry about the.
And I'll forward this to everyone, so it's at the top of your inbox.
Yes. Sorry, I got the dates wrong there. But Mr. Zittimer, Mr. Zittimer is there, and he's from the law firm that we use for our part of our attorneys. So I'm actually going to try to go if I can possibly go.
Great.
And you're welcome to. Oh, go ahead.
If I could just add, also the recent guidance from the state commission regarding cell phone use in districts, and some guidance to districts as well as families to limit or prevent social media introduction to children. So know that was a recent guidance that maybe we can also consider in the future.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any new business, things you want to bring up? Okay. All right then. So moving along to item number 21, President's Remarks. I will forego. I think I've said enough. And moving on to item 22, public comments on any issue or any topic. So the board invites public comment from members of our community in accordance with Board Policy 0167 on any issue or any topic. Public comment sections are intended to provide an opportunity for members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The board and administration will take notes during public comment, but will not provide substantive responses to questions or concerns raised by individual speakers. If necessary, the superintendent may provide a brief response after the entire public comment period is completed. The board appreciates and welcomes feedback from the community, but is not at liberty to engage in a back and forth dialogue with members of the public during this portion of the meeting. Prior to making your public comment, please state your name and municipality. Please note that all statements must be directed to the presiding officer. Please, excuse me, come to the microphone at this time if you would like to make comments on any issue or any topic. Okay. Anyone? Last call? Okay. Moving on to item number 23, executive session. The Dunellen Board of Education will now adjourn into executive session to discuss items that fall within specific exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act, CNJSA 10-4-12B. The confidential matters discussed by the board during the executive session include items related to individual privacy, collective bargaining agreements, pending or anticipated litigation, or personnel. Any discussion that does not need to remain confidential will be made public as soon as it is practical. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. All individuals who may be discussed in executive session have been adequately notified. Action will not take place after the conclusion of the executive session. May I please have a motion to go into executive?
Move to go to exec.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We will see you guys next time in a month. I think it's October 5th, 14th? 14th? October 14th. Same bat time, same bat channel.